No capital city in the world feels quite like Berlin, and maybe that's because none has had a century as eventful. Here's a city that was the party capital of the world in the golden 20s, and was then razed and cut in two. One half rebounded as an economic juggernaut, while the other languished in oppression and a sea of concrete. And when the two halves were reunited a quarter of a century ago, Berlin got a new identity as a fun-loving, disarmingly scruffy, cool, and socially conscious hotbed of ideas. And if you need photo-friendly sites, Berlin has them in spades, and they're all permeated with the drama of the last 100 years. Let's explore the best things to do in Berlin. Number 1. Brandenburg Gate. Where Unter den Linden intersects with Ebertstrasse stands what may be Germany's most recognizable sight. For first-timers in Berlin, the Brandenburg Gate is obligatory, and it's charged with real emotion and meaning, as an ever-present landmark during the destruction of the Second World War and the Berlin Wall when it stood at the divide. This ceremonial monument was erected at the turn of the 1790s at the behest of the Prussian King Frederick William II, on the site of one of Berlin's former defensive gates. Number 2. Reichstag. Another landmark that sums up the drama of the 20th century in Berlin is the Reichstag, the meeting place of the German parliament. This neo-Baroque building dates from 1894 and housed the Imperial Diet until it was damaged in that infamous and historic fire in 1933. The ruins were merely maintained until after the Berlin Wall fell. And as soon as it came down, a restoration project by Norman Foster began to resurrect the Reichstag as an emblem of a unified Germany. Number 3. Victory Column, Siegessäule. Where the roads converge in the Tiergarten, there's another big photo opportunity. The Victory Column was built in 1864 after the defeat of Denmark in the Danish-Prussian War. But it would also come to represent a slew of other victories in that era, over Austria and then France in 1870–71. Following these successes, an 8.3-meter sculpture of Victoria was added to the top of the column, weighing 35 tons. Number 4. Museum Island. A UNESCO World Heritage Site, the Museum Island on the Spree is an ensemble of 5 world-beating museums. These are the Altes Museum, ALTE National Gallery, Neues Museum, Bode Museum, and the Pergamon Museum. This little district, and the wider notion of a museum as a venue for public edification, is a product of the Enlightenment, and plans were set in motion in the early 19th century. Number 5. Memorial to the Murdered Jews of Europe. Not far from the Brandenburg Gate is the solemn and powerful memorial to the Holocaust, designed by the New York architect Peter Eisenman. Set on what used to be the death strip of the Berlin Wall, are 2,711 concrete blocks of varying heights, in a grid pattern on an undulating open space that lends the memorial a wave-like form. The blocks are on 54 north-south rows, and 87 perpendicular east-west rows. Number 6. Gendarmenmarkt. Contained by Charlottenstrasse and Markgrafenstrasse, is a square exuding Baroque opulence, and plotted by the architect Johann Arnold Nering in the 17th century. The showpieces are the French and German churches, facing off at the northern and southern ends of the plaza. They are both fronted by porticos and crowned with regal domes. Number 7. Fernsehturm. Raised next to Alexanderplatz in the late 1960s, the Fernsehturm, television tower, was intended as a highly visible symbol of communist power in East Berlin. Still the second tallest structure in all of the European Union, it is as much landmark for Berlin as the Reichstag or the Brandenburg Gate. The Fernsehturm is also the highest building in Europe open to the public, and provided you plan ahead, the 40-second ride to the viewing platform, 200 meters high, is something you can't turn down. Number 8. Jewish Museum Berlin. On Lindenstrasse, the museum tackling the weighty topic of Jewish history in Germany opened in 2001 in an acclaimed deconstructivist building by Daniel Libeskind. From above, the museum's plan resembles a bolt of lightning and has been compared to a dismantled Star of David. Once you start negotiating its zigzagging corridors, there are empty spaces, 20-meter-high voids that express interrupted history and the sense of loss of the Holocaust. Number 9. DDR Museum. Believe it or not, nostalgia for the German Democratic Republic is a thing in the former East Germany. The DDR Museum opened just across from the Berlin Cathedral in 2006 and is a complete repository for the German Democratic Republic, documenting the good, the bad and the downright kitsch. Among many things, you can check out the decor and furnishings inside a typical flat in an East German, Plattenbau, concrete tower block and see what it was like to drive a Trabant. Number 10. Berlin Cathedral. Not strictly a cathedral, as it has never been the seat for a bishop, this temple on Museum Island is still Berlin's most important Protestant church. It's the fourth church at this setting next to the Spree, in a line that goes back to 1451. The current cathedral is in the exuberant historicist style and was finished in 1904. Berlin Cathedral sustained damage in the Second World War when the lantern in the dome was destroyed, but the building never collapsed and has become another allegory for Berlin. Number 11. Alexanderplatz. The largest square in Germany and an energetic transport hub, Alexanderplatz is one of the most dynamic and exciting corners of Berlin. This former parade ground became the city's main shopping district at the start of the 20th century. It was completely obliterated in the Second World War and owes its appearance to a GDR project during the 1960s. Number 12. Treptower Park. A quick ride on the S-Bahn takes you to Treptower Park, next to the Spree in the southeast of Berlin. Summer is when the park is at its best, as you can amble beside the river for 4 kilometers, or catch a boat for a cruise on the Spree. The park was landscaped in the English style in 1884 and spreads over 84 hectares, composed of abundant lawns, tree groves, and a rose garden. Number 13. Olympic Stadium. Few sporting arenas have seen as much world-changing history as Berlin's Olympic Stadium. When the Nazis came to power in 1933, they identified the upcoming 1936 Olympics as a propaganda opportunity, and Werner March was called upon to design a monumental stadium that would turn heads. The result was a technical masterpiece, and would be the arena where Jesse Owens took 4 gold medals, undermining any notions of Aryan supremacy. Number 14. Berlin Philharmonie. The Berlin Philharmoniker is often voted in the top 2 or 3 symphony orchestras in the world. So for classical music fans, a night at the Philharmoniker's home venue might represent a lifetime ambition. The concert hall, noted for its tent-like roof, opened on the south side of the Tiergarten in 1963. In those days it was in a wasteland created by the wall, but is now at the green soul of the city and a member of the Kulturforum ensemble of important cultural venues. Number 15. Kaufhaus de Westens. Shortened to KaDeWe, Kaufhaus de Westens is a department store without rival. This 8-story monster is the most famous shopping destination in Germany and the second largest department store in Europe. If you've got money to burn, the first 3 floors are all about high-end women's and men's fashion, and if you think you've seen it all before, the dazzling, luxury boulevard on the ground floor is like a mini Fifth Avenue. Number 16. Museum für Naturkunde. You can say hello to the world's largest mounted dinosaur skeleton at the Central Hall of Berlin's Natural History Museum. Standing at 13.27 meters, this beast, a sauropod, would have weighed 55 tons when it was alive. Nearly all the material is from one animal, discovered in Tanzania in the early 20th century. Number 17. Mauerpark Market. Mauerpark in Prenzlauer Berg is the setting for a shopping trip to remember. The market is at its best in summer, when you can compare it to a small music festival. In among the stalls are musicians playing gigs for little crowds, as and street food vendors selling international fare. The stall holders themselves are mostly everyday people trying to sell stuff they no longer need. Number 18. Konzerthaus Berlin. The Grand Concert Hall on Gendarmenmarkt was actually a theater for most of its history. As the Königliches Schauspielhaus, and then the Preußisches Staatstheater, the most illustrious actors of the 19th century trod its boards. It functioned in this capacity up to the Second World War, when it was bombed out. Number 19. Berlin Zoo. No animal attraction in Europe gets more visitors than the Berlin Zoo, which is enveloped in woodland on the southwestern corner of the Tiergarten. At just over 5,000, the array of different species is the largest on the planet, and the zoo toes the line between ethical animal treatment and crowd-pleasing exhibits. All the big cats are present, along with chimpanzees, orangutans, bonobos and gorillas. As of 2017, Fatu here is the oldest gorilla in the world at 60 years old. Number 20. East Side Gallery. Warschauer Strasse station is the spot to start a walk beside the longest preserved stretch of the Berlin Wall. Every patch has been adorned with art, turning this into the world's longest outdoor gallery. Some of the murals have gone down in history and are indelible, while others are constantly being replaced and updated. Most of the work is bold, colorful and thought-provoking.